Hi guys, and welcome to another Evolve video. Now today I'm going to be looking at the perk system again. I did an overview video a week ago, and which was just my initial thoughts on the perk system, because obviously they've added a new perk system into Evolve Stage 2. So basically today I'm going to be looking at it in more detail. So this is kind of a perk analysis. So we're going to be looking at some statistics. I've done some loadouts, things like that, how the perks are categorized and what they're categorized into. So let's jump into it, shall we? Right, so here we go. So start off, first of all, the perks are split into 3 slots. So obviously slot 1, slot 2 and slot 3. Now Evolve have named these categories, which I did mention I was hoping they'd do, because originally it was just said slot 1, slot 2 and slot 3. So they have called these they have 3 categories. So we've got minor, major and superior. So they are the 3 categories, and as you can probably tell, the superior ones have more impact than the minor ones, just from the name, and you'll see that when you look at the statistics really. Okay, so here are all the perks that are split that are in the minor category. So we've got bionic legs, enhanced celerity, extra force, extra fuel tank, gunslinger, infravision, regeneration and rocket man. For the major category, we have bounty hunter, cybernetic implants, destructive force, energy, enhanced defense, enhanced regeneration, high energy fuel, leadership, lithium battery, nanotech celerity, poisonous rounds, reloader, rocket lord and ultravision. And finally, in the superior category, we have acidic rounds, barium battery, command, lethal force, mutated celerity, nanotech regeneration, rocket king, speed loader, superior energy and unbreakable defense. So these are the 3 categories that the perks are initially broken down into. So we have the slot 1, slot 2 and slot 3. So let's have a look at the perks themselves. So what I've done here, I have categorized all the different perks into what they increase, for example. So we've got jump height, movement speed, swap speed, damage increase, capacity, regeneration. There's some more to come, but these are what I've broken them down to, because originally the perks were kind of just, you just had jump height and it increased jump height, whereas now you can choose jump height and movement speed. So let's have a look. So these are all the perks that are in the different categories. So I've obviously split them into. So as you can probably tell, the ones on the left, some have just 2 perks that are to do with the category. So jump height has bionic legs and cybernetic implants, whereas movement speed has 3. So it has enhanced celerity, nanotech celerity and mutated celerity. So this is interesting because, obviously bionic legs and cybernetic implants, if you do have a look at the statistics, which we are going to have a look at, their numbers are greater because there's only 2 perks, for example, whereas movement speed goes up in little percentages at a time. So I think for movement speed we've got 3%, goes up to 4% and 5%, whereas bionic legs is 100% and cybernetic implants is 150%. I think we will go through that in a minute because I have got all these down. So as you can see, some have perks that are in the major category and the superior category. Some have all categories, or some have just the minor and the major. Okay, so those are for jump height, movement speed, swap speed, damage increase, capacity and regeneration. Moving on, we've got also poison, damage reduction, view creatures. Now that is an interesting one because that used to never be a perk. It used to be, it used to be an animal perk, an albino perk. So when you killed an albino, I can't remember what they're called, it gave you view creatures, but you couldn't have that as a perk itself. So that is an interesting new one that has been added. So again, on this page there are more, these are kind of the stronger perks. We've got, the poison, the damage reduction, reload speed and class ability. Those 4 are more powerful than the rest, because obviously you can see we've got in reload speed you've got reloader, which is major, and speed loader, which is superior, whereas we've got view creatures, which is infravision, which is minor, and ultravision, which is major. Okay, so these are what all the perks are broken down to. We also got 2 more, which is jetpack recharge and rocketeer. I like the name I picked for that one. So jetpack recharge, so that's the batteries, and rocketeer is Rocket Man, Rocket Lord, and Rocket King, which I enjoy. Now, just a note before we go any further, in this video I have only looked at the base stats of the perks, because obviously you can see down here where you've got the 3 little bars. Now you can upgrade your perks, so obviously that increases how much that increases. So if you have a look at that, they obviously increase, but I'm just looking at the base the base percentages. But I will go and I am going to make a video which does show the upgrade system and how much it gets upgraded. Okay, so moving on. So let's have a look at the perks. Let's get down to the nitty gritty and have a look at the numbers. So jump height, let's have a look at the perks individually. So jump height, you've got bionic legs and cybernetic implants. Bionic legs increases your jump height by 50%. Cybernetic implants adds 100%. So altogether, if you have both of these perks, bearing in mind you can also have an extra one because this doesn't have a superior perk, jump height doesn't. So with an overall, if you can add numbers together, 150%. So you have base, if you don't upgrade any of these perks, you can have 150% extra jump height, which is always helpful during firefights. Something that I'd probably choose as Trapper. It's not the most useful perks, but it can get you out of sticky situations sometimes. Okay, next one, movement speed. Now this has 3, like I said before, so you've got enhanced celerity, nanotech celerity, and mutated celerity. So these, let's have a look at the numbers. So we've got 3%, 5%, and 9%, with an overall total of 17%, which is an odd number, which if you think about it, you can probably imagine what it'll add up to when you've upgraded all of the perks. Okay, swap speed, gunslinger and bounty hunter. So we've got 10% for gunslinger and 25% for bounty hunter, with an overall total of 35%. Damage increase, extra force, lethal force, and destructive force. 3%, 5%, and we're missing one, 4% for lethal force. So with an overall total of 12. Okay, next one. Capacity. Energy and superior energy. I'm not quite sure why it's called energy. I thought that's a bit of a strange thing. Could have, I'd say capacity, or it would make more sense. I'm not quite sure what energy is. I don't know. Anyway, so we've got energy plus 10% capacity and superior energy plus 16%. Okay, with an overall total of 26%. Regeneration. Regeneration, enhanced regeneration, and nanotech regeneration. So obviously these all stack on top of each other. Now this is different. Obviously it's not a percentage, this is how much HP it heals you per second. So regeneration is 10 HP per second. Enhanced regeneration is 20 HP per second. And you can probably guess nanotech regeneration. Oh, I was going for 30%, but 40% is what we have. Nanotech regeneration is 40 HP per second. Now adding all those up, you get a big whopping 70 HP per second, which I can't remember what we're back in normal evolve, what regeneration actually added. I thought it was 115 or something like that, but 70 HP seems a lot to me per second, but I can't remember how much HP hunters have. Poison. Poisonous rounds and acidic rounds. So poison, this is 5 damage per second for 3 seconds. Now how it explains it in the game is a bit confusing for me, so I just changed it a little bit. 5 damage per second for 3 seconds. So this for me is every time. I haven't actually tested it, but I will do. But 5% per second, so that's per shot, I can assume. So per shot or per time you hit the monster, you get 5 damage for 3 seconds. So 10 damage per second for 3 seconds is acidic rounds. So with an overall 15 damage per second for 3 seconds on every hit, which could be quite powerful if all of your team use some kind of acidic or poisonous rounds. Damage reduction. So in damage reduction, we have enhanced defense and unbreakable defense. So we've got +3 for enhanced defense and +5 for unbreakable defense, with a total of 8%. Few creatures. Now this was the perk I said wasn't originally what you couldn't originally have, and I think it's very useful, particularly for the medic and the trapper. Just because, especially because you can have infravision, which is a minor perk, so you can have that. It doesn't really add much to it, but few creatures, no matter how far the distance, even if it's only 5 meters, I know the base is 8 meters, but just having that, it just makes you more aware. You know, I know we've all ran into the plant that eats us, and you know, it's frustrating, but having that awareness, being aware just before you get to it, is always helpful. And ultravision is 17 meters, so take your pick, or you can have both together, which I probably wouldn't do because there's no need, and obviously it's a 25 meter range. Now obviously, like I said, this is just the base, you know, the base percentages. If you upgrade them, I think it's, you know, it's more around 50 meters or something like that. Reload speed. I like reload speed. I always wanted to have capacity and reload speed. That was always what I wished I could have had, and now you can have it. So yes, we've got reloader, which is 10% reload speed, extra reload speed, and speed loader 11% extra reload speed, with a total of 21%. Some of these numbers I find a bit funny, but obviously when you upgrade them, they will probably make a nice round number. Flight efficiency. So we've got extra fuel tank and high energy fuel. So we get +5% fuel tank and high energy fuel tank. We've got +20%. So, you know, I'm more inclined to go for the major perk there rather than the minor. Okay. So I think they changed the names of these perks. No, the descriptions, because I was a bit confused when I first read them. So with a total of 25% extra fuel. Class ability. Now I thought this was great. One, this is always, I can imagine people will use it for Lazarus. You know, Lazarus always, or it's probably no, any medic really is always useful to get that class ability quicker. So we've got leadership and command. Leadership is +5% and command is +20%. So again, I'd probably be more inclined to superior, especially when you upgrade it. I don't know what it totals to, but I think they go up quite considerably, which is obviously a total of 25%. Jetpack recharge, lithium battery and barium battery. I'm not actually sure what barium is, to be honest. I'm not quite sure if they made that up or whether it's an actual element. I'm not sure. 15% extra. So jetpack recharge. So your jetpack recharges 15% quicker. I think that was what I struggled to get my head around the first time. So we've got plus 25% jetpack recharge, with obviously a big total of 40%. Rocketeer. I think this is the last one, folks. I know this is kind of a bit boring. Might be a bit boring just going through numbers, but I think it's important to know the categories, really, what they split into, kind of the numbers, so you can have in your head kind of an idea of what's probably the best option for you. And we're nearly through it now, and once we get through this nitty-gritty part, we're going to have a look at some loadouts that I just, had a look at and thought, yeah, I can use those perks to my advantage in certain roles. So Rocket Man. So this was the one perk that really was interesting for me, because if you have a look at the monster perks, they all kind of have more than one effect. So as with this one, because obviously we've got a jump height perk, we've got a jetpack recharge speed perk, and we've got a jetpack flight efficiency perk. Now this just grabs little percentages from 3 of those perks. So we've got Rocket Man, +3% jetpack flight efficiency, +3% jetpack recharge speed, and +10% jump height. Rocket Lord, 10% jetpack flight efficiency, 5% jetpack recharge speed, and 50% jump height. Rocket King, 10% jetpack flight efficiency, 10% jetpack recharge speed, 75% jump height. And there you have it. Obviously, so we've got some interesting numbers. So we've got 23% total, 18%, and 135%. So let's go back and let's review. So here I have, you can see that the percentage is in it's in different colors. Now I've done it colored to show you what perks it has, if you get what I mean. So because it's red and blue, the perks that jump height has is a minor perk and a major perk, and obviously this is just a grand total of what we've just discussed. So movement speed, so we've got minor, major and superior at plus 17%. Swap speed, damage increase 12%, capacity 26%. So obviously we've got a major perk because it's blue and a superior perk. Regeneration 70 HP. And obviously this is all three because it's got all three colours. Moving on. Poison 15 damage per second for 3 seconds. 8%. Few creatures 25%. No, not 25 meters. Damage reduction was 8%, by the way. Reload speed 21%. Flight efficiency 25%. Class ability 25%. Jetpack recharge 40%. And Rocketeer 23%, 18%, and 135%. Okay, and finally, I have had a look at some loadouts and I just quickly thought, okay, these are some things, you know, there's so many variations now, but this is kind of some loadouts that I think I'd probably use. So you've got Assault, and this is the all-out damage loadout. So as you can probably guess, this just utilizes all the damage perks. So you've got Extra Force, Lethal Force, and Destructive Force. So this was just to show, if you go full-out damage, is it really worth it? So you've got 3% for Destructive Force. 3% for Extra Force, 5% Destructive Force, 4% for Lethal Force. So we've got 3, 4, 5, which I think is very nice. Okay, so that's all-out damage. So just to see how much damage you can get out of your Assault class to try and destroy the monster as quick as you can. Okay, Trapper. Ready is always best loadout. Now this was probably my most interesting one, and I quite like this one. So we've got Gunslinger. Now Gunslinger increases your swap speed, which I think is always interesting for Trapper. Just because I find, particularly with Maggie, swapping between things becomes a bit tricky sometimes, and I like to have that speed, so you're always ready. So you know, having that extra speed just to be quicker. Right, I need this gun, or I need this weapon now. Okay, Ultravision to keep yourself aware. Having the Trapper being aware, knowing what's in their surroundings is very important. For example, if there is an albino near where you are and the monster's there, you don't want a dome with an albino in there unless you deal with it first. And knowing where that is before, you know, round a corner or, you know, through a rock or something like that, it gives you that awareness. You know, you can make those decisions before you get to the monster. And it also makes you aware of what else is around you so you don't get stuck in things. Finally, Rocket King. Now, this is just I like this one because it added a few extra bonuses, but they're also in various different areas. So I feel that the Trapper, you know, has a lot. You know, they need to be able to use. You know, they need to utilize all they can, and I think having little bonuses everywhere actually has a greater effect overall. We got Rocket King. Next one, Medic defensive loadout. See, now for me, staying out of the way of the monster is a tricky thing. You know, if the monster is quite aggressive and he goes for the medic fairly, you know, immediately he's going for the medic, I think having a defensive loadout, something to get you out the way or to protect you, is very important. Have you got Infravision? This was, for me, very important because it's a minor perk. I thought, you know, this is probably a great one to have. This is mainly to just, you know, if the medic gets trapped or, you know, goes off on his own and gets trapped somewhere, you know, because he hasn't seen a plant on the floor or something, you know, if a medic goes, you probably had it, particularly now because the Trapper's role has been nerfed, kind of, because everybody can drop the dome now. So Infravision, you know, it stops that. I think it protects the medic a bit more. Maybe not in the fight itself, but you know, getting to the monster is protected a bit more. Nanotech celerity 5%. Now 5% isn't that much, but I think when you upgrade this perk it'd be a lot more effective. So nanotech celerity plus 5% movement speed. Now movement speed is very helpful in the dome, just to try and get out the way of the monster or hide somewhere quickly. You know, that's why I chose that one. I know 5% probably wouldn't make that much of a difference, to be honest, to the monster because of how much speed they have. But, you know, upgraded, I think it'll be very effective. A nanotech regeneration. Now, one thing being the medic, you know, you're very focused on protecting everybody else, making sure they've all got their HP up to as high as you can get it whilst you're in the fight. And it's very easy, and I find it very easy to forget to look after yourself. And, you know, you're too busy looking after your team and, you know, your health is going down. You know, you kind of ignore the monster hitting you because you need to keep your team alive. So I think having a big boost in regeneration, you know, to get out the way, those seconds are so important. And the fact you're getting 40 health back per second, you know, if you get out the way for a good 10 seconds, you know, it can, you know, you can fetch back a fair amount of HP. And finally, the support. This is the team player loadout. Now, I was thinking about Sunny because she uses her little drone to, you know, protect the team. And she uses this. So yeah, I thought about her when I made this loadout. So we've got Rocket Man. So this adds little bonuses to jetpack flight efficiency, jetpack recharge speed, and 10% jump height. I think that was similarly to the Trapper, having just those little boosts overall has a big effect. Reloader, having that ability to reload very quick, you know, to have that increase. Again, like I've just said in the medic one, 10% is not a lot, but if you upgrade it, be very useful. You know, Sunny's mini nuke launcher, you know, reloading quickly, you can just get so much more damage on them. And superior energy, so capacity increase of 16%, which again lets you fire more. You know, you're firing more and you're reloading quicker. That was a powerful combination I wanted to be able to use previously, and now I can, which I'm very happy about. And that is the end, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know some of it may have been a bit boring, but I think it was important for you to have a look at, you know, have a look at the statistics, have a think about, okay, so these are the options I now have, because the perks are just plonked in front of you. You know, there's no categories to kind of help you think, okay, I'll pick one from jump height, I'll pick one from poisonous rounds. It's more kind of, look, there's the perks, you know, and you've got to try and, I don't know if that's purposely done, or, you know, it's kind of like you've got to think about it in your head, if you get what I mean. So yeah, so there's that. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing the same for the monster perks. I'm also going to be, obviously, I'm going to be doing more gameplays and things like that. But I hope you stick around. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I hope it's been useful for you. I hope it hasn't wasted time. But thanks a lot anyway. If you want to keep updated, just follow me on Twitter at redheadgamer16. So yeah, until next time, have fun, and I will see you in the next video.